So a little while ago I posted a short with me installing my pop top surround, and I had lots of comments interested in how I made it. So this is going to be a video on how I made this pop top surround for under 50 quid. There are other options on the market, but with winter approaching and the cost of living crisis, I think this is a cheaper option to keep you warm so you can camp through the winter. So the great thing is the bungee can be used to hold it together, but this is also used at the back to secure it. Woo! So I just feed it through there. It's easier with two, obviously. You need to make sure that your seams are actually on the kind of square bit, if you like. I'll just do the other side. So if you can see here, I've got some rivets. I'll show you in more detail later, but you just hook that and then hook the other, and that secures it from flying off in the wind. So come inside, I'll show you what it's like. So there are a few pop top surrounds on the market that you can buy, but they are not cheap. The benefit of those is that they have the window put in at the front, so when you do unzip this bit, you can still see out. The downside of making your own is you haven't got that. But this really does make a difference to the warmth of the van with the pop top up, or just when you're sleeping in the pop top. It does make a difference, and it means you can camp for longer periods if you're sleeping up in the pop top. And it's cheap enough to make. The only thing that does concern me slightly is that if it is escape, you've got an extra thing to get through. If there was a fire and you needed to get out quickly, you could still kick these mesh things and I think you'd get out. That would be no problem, but it's kind of just an extra layer to get through, which always concerns me a little bit. But yeah, a real difference, and for what, 40 quid, 50 quid, a cheap opportunity to use your camper van through the winter months. So I'm in my front room. I'm going to show you how I made my pop top surround, but I'm going to do it in miniature format so that I can replicate what I did without having to make another one that I don't need. Okay, so the first and most important thing is you need to measure the front of your pop top, because if you cannot get a roll of insulation that is the height of your pop top, then you can't do this. I have linked two below. One is 1.5 metres and one is 1 metre. Now the 1 metre was enough for me, but that's the first thing you need to do. Measure the front section where the window is from top to bottom on the canvas to see what the height is. Once you've done that, as long as it's under 1.5, which I think most of them will be, then you can make your pop top surround. So first thing is to get some scrap bits of paper, just sellotape them together and then put them up against your pop top side and then draw around it so that you've got a template. It's important to do this to make sure you get it right, and then you should have something like that. And then of course you'll replicate that for the other side so that you will have two. You'll do the same for the front section. I'll put them there and then you can see. So you'll have something like this. And then you're going to need two little ends that help to tie around the back. So that's your pop top, if you imagine that's how it's going to wrap around it. Now, there's two options here. Now what I did was I cut them individually with a bit of a seam allowance, and I sewed them with my sewing machine. Now, not everybody has a sewing machine, so I was having a think about this, about the best way to do it if you don't have a sewing machine, because effectively there is no reason, remember this is a miniature version, why you can't get your foil strip. This isn't going to be long enough, but let's imagine it is. There's no reason why you couldn't just cut out directly, can you see that? Directly from your foil strip and just lay everything on, cut around it. The only problem you're going to have, I foresee, is on these joins. If you have sewn them with the sewing machine, then these joins will create a squared effect. Now, if you haven't got a sewing machine, what you're going to have to do, and I've thought about this, I'm going to do a little example. It's really easy to cut. The metre high one is £28.99 off from my Amazon shop, and the, I think 1.5 metres is about, it's a bit dearer, I think it's about 40 quid. You have to go and double check, but okay, so this is my theory. Hi Macy, I'm just filming. Okay, so I think that where this join is here, if you were to just fold it like that, it may stay folded on the pop top. But just to be sure, I don't see why you can't get a stapler and just go down the edge like that. And that will help to keep it square. Hang on. I dreamt about this. I thought, what do you do if you don't have a sewing machine? Find a friend with a sewing machine. This actually might be better. Okay, so you then end up with something like this. Obviously, this is a miniature version, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now, I've also added some special insulation tape that can join these. So I personally would put some insulation tape over the staples just to prevent any penetration of water. So you would also add your ends or add them by sewing them, or you would staple them along to create the fold effect. So that is your pop tops around. Now, we used a rivet gun to put a hole in there and a hole in the other one so that you can use the bungee to hold it together at the back. But you could literally just put a hole in. I think if you can get a rivet gun, it would last longer because I'm guessing this stuff would eventually rip. So I think if you know someone with a rivet gun, just to create a hole, I think that would be helpful. Or maybe if you went to Timpson's or somewhere like that, I reckon they just do it for you for nothing. The other thing I did was I got some binding, and I put binding all around the edge on the bottom and the top. Now that's not necessary, but I've got a sewing machine and it looked better, and it'll just stop it from fraying or ripping. Taking it down is easy, you just unhook the back. This is the good bit. Oh, I forgot to mention, it actually stops that condensation that you get. You know when you're sleeping in the pop top and your sleeping bag touches the side, it stops that. Stops the rain getting onto the canvas. Ugh. This is the easy bit, she says. Oh, come on. It is an easy bit. There you go. Because it's insulation, give it a shake if it's wet. And then you just literally roll it up, which I will now fast forward. And then just put your bungee back on. Now it is bulky to store, so I just shove it behind the seat. There we go. As always, if you found this useful, please hit the like, comment below if you've made one, send us some pictures, I'd love to see it. Tell me what you think of the expensive ones, if you've got one, what are they like? So anyone that's looking to buy one has a kind of idea of whether it's worth making one or buying one. So yeah, subscribe if you like, follow our adventures, follow our madness, and yeah, thanks for watching. Woo! I'm just going to say that again because there's a motorbike going past, so I'm going to say just keep filming, matey, and I'll say 1, 2, 3 in a minute when they've all gone. Come on, chavs, go with your motorbike, go. Okay, we'll try that again.